Hello, people. Currently, I'm reading a book called Tyranny of Merit, written by Michael J. Sandel. In this book, basically, he critique the idea of meritocracy and where the individual merit of the person is prioritized and at the cost of common good, and how it is actually harming the common good. Um, Basically, he starts with explaining a scam done by the multimillionaires or top 1% of the your society to get a college seat in the Ivy League institutions. Basically, it talks about a scam made by a guy called William Singer who runs a business to game the system. In one of the instances, it is mentioned that the singer received amount of $75,000 by a chairperson of a law firm to uh, get a seat for her daughter, and also to ensure that she gets uh, proper SAT marks. So basically, as we all know that in American system, one needs to get the SAT marks, but also there are several quotas. Like for instance, in this case, um, where he gets $75,000. Uh, a portion of that was given to the soccer coach of the university, where he could give a higher grade to her daughter to ensure that she is getting admitted. So by giving this example, he is talking about that the whole meritocracy system is basically has actually run down into a system where you know you can buy merit basically, and to get uh, and since the college degree became such an important thing, so people could people who had the means dig the system, and also so it created a system of winners and losers. So he's talking about the downfalls of that, and he also compares that to the larger political discourse uh, which is lingering in the American public life, where there are populists and both from the left and the right, where basically the working classes who are actually not able to game the system are feeling disempowered by such a uh, creation of a class of elites which look down upon. And when such a scam is actually at the fore, then it becomes more in the public perception, it leads to um, loss of trust in the institution actually. So in Indian context, we can draw parallel to the NEET scam which is going on, which is actually a much discussed scam in India, where paper leaks are happening, where people basically pay huge sums to get paper leaked and ensure that their children are actually getting the seat. So basically, but Michael J. Sandel goes much beyond that. He he proposes that the whole system of merit itself is a flawed one, because where when you are focusing on a meritocratic system, you are only focusing on the individual effort of that person, and sometimes that leads to not acknowledging the role of the societal privileges you get in, which is not in your control. Like for example, the if you are born into a multimillionaire family, you get access to education very easily, you get access to all the resources which is required to crack exam more efficiently. If at all you are not willing to game the system, you have the resources to crack the system. Similarly, this divide actually creates a system of winners and losers, where those who are getting those credentials, and in the present time we have seen that there is a you know huge demand and huge thing huge attribute given to that degree, and the the institution you are getting the degree from. So it becomes a kind of ticket to get a good life basically, and those who are not getting that ticket, they feel left behind. So in this book he described that it is one of the reason to have a populist outburst by the basically the white American working class, where they can't, they feel that they and in the liberal discourse also there is a concept of justifying the concept of merit. And while talking about the flaws of meritocracy, where individual merit is prioritized and not and the community, the the contribution of the community and the family is not you know basically it is invisibilized. So there is a um, larger critique he makes that it is this tendency to have a meritocratic system was also prevalent in the religious discourse. For example, he tracks back this debate of meritocracy in the debate of Calvinism and Lutheran school of Christian philosophy, where basically before the advent of the Lutheran and the Calvinian uh, Calvinism, there was Catholic system which was based on filial piety, where the human life was full of regret, and basically human life is sin. So to counter that, um, not Lutheran was more into the individual guilt of the individual, but the Calvinist school of thought actually talk more into the things that since we don't know the um, you know the sinness of us. So to get a ticket of heaven, you need to work hard, and that translated into the Protestant ethic which we talk about. But once that philosophical decision is made, and once you believe in that, so there was always a tendency to um, have a moral superior right to claim that whatever the individual has achieved is due to his efforts only, and not due to the society. So what happens sometimes when we are talking about the societal um, issues, and in a democratic system also, we have to talk about the role of the society and the common good. which is often looked down upon in a meritocratic capitalist system. And also he talks about the role the role of technocrats and technocratic system. Technocrats in the governance has increased, where you are meant to be experts, and those who are not considered experts are not actually having a real say in the system. And that creates a divide, because since majority of people are coming from working class, are not having those privileges and those expertise as such. So you are so the democratic spirit which drives the any democratic system actually falters, and there is a moral vacuum. And the whole argument both from the Democrats and the Republican American system, American context, was actually focused on that. In fact, the liberals also advocated about the inherent goodness of American system, because it was based on merit. And basically and obviously the Republican also had few shade higher, few shade or what, like much higher uh, you know narratives to impose that the American system is morally good, because they are fair, and they are meritorious. So this um, this line of thinking actually leads to a feeling that if you don't need to have a consensus and a societal solution, and you can have few experts who can determine the public policy also. So in the later half of the book, Sandel also prescribes few policy intervention which government can make to make the system more fair. In context to the admission process, he talks about that rather than having marks based criteria to get selected, they can one can devise lottery system, where basically he talks about that key 40% of a minimum requirement. If if 40% of the candidates who are not fulfilling the minimum requirement should be not be allowed to contest, and 60% of them should be given a chance of lottery system, where they get a fair share. But obviously I to have a differences. I have difference of view in the solution of it, but basically the books highlights the loopholes and the moral hazard of focusing too much on the merit, and not focusing on the comprehensive societal and societal privileges and societal contribution, which is leading to for that individual to succeed. So this is a short summary of the book, and if you want to read the book further, you can get it online also, and or bookstores. And it is a good book to reflect upon our current times. And it is not only applicable to in American context; it can be debated from any countries. Like for instance, because this book was talking about meritocracy in America, it heavily actually talked about the Christian view of meritocracy, and all the debates regard on that basis. In Indian context, we can think from a our context how meritocracy or things which are different from American system, and things which are going uh, closer to the American system, where obviously because we are living in a capitalist market system, we can't deny that eventually all the world powers are actually inclining towards that. And since we are living in a relatively difficult times where the global order is actually having a change. So this kind of debate is necessary in every country where things are not happening according to the larger masses, and where due to that there are many populists, both from the left and right, are actually emerging. Like he talks about Trump. So basically, to summarize a bit, he tells that the rise of the Trump and the broad appeal was that he basically attacks the system, elite system which was created by the liberal, and also, but at the same time, the actual but he's also critiquing the liberal system where liberal politicians, where they are not understanding the real you know um, real discontent of the people, where they see a system of winners and losers where they don't get a fair share. Obviously the economic aspect is that obviously the globalization has enabled and empowered other countries rather than um, American people locally. And that is a popular discourse which was actually um, taken by Trump in a more uh, you know tribalistic manner, in which he attacks the immigrants, and the immigrants who have actually benefited from the system, and um, basically how the white American have not got their share. Similarly, in Indian context, or in other developing countries, we can also have this. We can see this rise of this populism, where people are talking in terms of absolutes, not talking, having a system where they can have a proper discourse. And so we are living into in a echo chamber where things are either my way or highway. So ma- primarily this books talks about all these um, issues, and and the problem of meritocracy, and the problem if for instance meritocracy is implemented properly, that also creates a value neutral system. Basically, when those who are having merit do not have the ethical components in their personality, and that leads to moral degradation, and also a feeling of you know uh, system where if you are not good enough, you are not meant to survive, and you are left alone, and that societal feeling of common good is missing. So yeah, you can go through the book and read further about it.